A Ring of Silence. In 1950, shortly after we moved to Blackberry Road that summer, our next-door neighbor, Miss Rhonda Jean, said to Mama, "The Pender family is strange." "What do you mean?" Mama asked. "They's not friendly. Better to leave them mountain people alone. They got dark screens on the winders of their back porch. They can't see out and can't nobody see in." The Pender house always appeared very white, like it had just been painted, and the yard was always neatly mowed. Mr. and Mrs. Pender, their two boys, Frank and Buddy, and Mrs. Pender's father, Mr. Art, or Grandpa Art, lived in the house behind us. Their old rusty barbed wire fence separated our backyards. Near the fence was Grandpa Art's garden. The old man, who was in his late 80s, walked with a stoop and wore an old beat-up felt hat pulled down to cover most of his face. Strawberries, tomatoes, and cucumbers grew in his small garden. It was only a matter of time before he met my grandmother and fell for her. Everybody called her Other Mama. "Mr. Art," she began, not long after they met, "this barbed wire fence is dangerous. It has to come down, and the sooner the better." He didn't answer. In addition to his garden, Mr. Art kept a few chickens. Other mamas shared that her family had also kept chickens. "When I was growing up, Mr. Art," she told him, "me or one of my 3 sisters would catch a chicken, wring its neck, then prepare it for dinner." "Lord," he laughed, revealing the 3 teeth he had left, "I ain't never seen nobody wring a chicken's neck afore. I'd just take an axe to 'em myself." "If you'll wring her neck, I'll give you one of my hens for your Sunday dinner." Never one to back down, Other Mama agreed to do it. I'd seen Other Mama in an anxious state before. Once, when she was out of snuff, she tried to smoke one of Mama's cigarettes. It didn't go well. The day Mr. Art brought the chicken, I saw the same anxious expression on Other Mama's pretty face. Her mouth was drawn in a straight line, and her movements were jerky. Other Mama did all the cooking at our house, and that morning I could hear her fussing around in the kitchen, banging pots and pans. She had plenty of snuff to dip, so I figured the chicken challenge was on her mind. I knew better than to approach Other Mama when her mouth was in a straight line. I informed my neighborhood playmates of what was to take place that afternoon, and most showed up. Bird Legs, also known as Lawrence Hoover, the Singleton twins and their cousin who was visiting, Mary Grace and her brother Virgil, and my new best friend, Kay. We were all around the same age, give or take 2 or 3 years. I was almost 6 years old at the time. As we gathered in my backyard, waiting for Mr. Art, I felt nervous. I didn't want to see Other Mama kill anything, but I was curious. Mr. Art carried an orange feathered chicken cradled in his arms, and my friends and I formed a semicircle in front of Other Mama. When he handed her the chicken, it got scared and began to squawk. The squawks were unnerving, and as Other Mama awkwardly held the chicken in one arm and struggled to grab its neck with the other, the squawks became louder, like he screams. I backed up and put my hands over my ears. Other Mama had strong arms. She bragged that growing up she could wrestle her older brothers to the ground. She made fresh biscuits every day, and the pounding of the wooden rolling pin shook the kitchen. Sometimes she'd give me a small wad of dough to make a biscuit man. More than once, I got too close while she was rolling the dough, got knocked in the head by one of her flying elbows, and went reeling. She'd get terribly upset whenever that happened and yell, "Nicky, you must stand back. How many times do I have to tell you?" Other Mama finally got a firm grip on the chicken's neck and with her right arm began to spin the bird around in the air. Feathers flew. Other Mama's mouth opened and she began breathing hard. Beads of perspiration appeared on her forehead, but she kept spinning that bird around and around and around. I'd never seen Other Mama afraid of anything, but she looked scared, like she couldn't wring the chicken's head off. But she kept at it. She'd been known to say she was having a heart attack when things weren't going her way, and I wondered if she was going to have one now. I didn't know how long the spinning went on. I'd close my eyes and open them to see feathers still flying. The kids around me started screaming, and I opened my eyes to see Other Mama holding the chicken's head in her hand. My friends scattered as the chicken, without a head, began to run around on the ground in front of Other Mama. Birdlegs Hoover shouted, "It's still alive! It's alive!" I watched as blood spurted from the hole in its neck. After what seemed like a long, long time, the headless bird finally stopped running and flopped down dead on the bloody grass. Mr. Art stood nearby the whole time watching Other Mama. He liked her before, but he was no doubt madly in love with her now. I stood proud and relieved that she did what she said she could do, but it was a cruel thing to watch. I felt sorry for the chicken. One afternoon, shortly thereafter, I was making mud pies in the backyard when someone said, "Hey, my name's Buddy." I looked up from mixing a bowl of mud, rocks, and grass to see a young boy sitting on top of one of the ancient wooden posts that supported the barbed wire fence. I knew immediately he was one of Mr. Art's grandsons. "What's your name?" he asked. "Nicky," I answered. "My name's Buddy," he said. "You're a pretty little girl." He looked to be about 12 years old, the same age as my brother Ben. He seemed so sweet and friendly. Then he hopped off the post and walked away towards his house, leaving as quickly as he had come. I encountered him again. One day, while playing hide-and-go-seek next door to the Pender's house, Buddy walked over to me and said, "Hey, do you like rings?" "Oh, yes," I answered. "I've got a ring for you," he said, "but you have to come inside to get it." I wondered why I had to go inside his house, but I followed him into the back porch, whose gray window screens prevented one from seeing in or seeing out. Like the unsuspecting chicken Grandpa Art gave to Other Mama, I had no idea what to expect. Inside, he told me to lie down, make myself comfortable on the floor in the kitchen, and he'd go get the ring. Buddy was cute. He had a crooked smile, and a shock of black hair fell over one of his brown eyes. The kitchen floor was shiny and clean, and I lay down on the yellow-flowered linoleum. But before I give it to you, he said, you have to pull your shorts down. I wondered why I had to pull my shorts down to get a ring, but I really wanted that ring, so I did it. All the way down, he said. Ooh, then I wanted to run, but suddenly I became afraid. Buddy knelt beside me. My mama could never bring herself to say the word vagina. Buddy began to fondle what I was taught to call my dookie. It didn't hurt. In fact, it wasn't unpleasant, but I knew it was wrong. On the verge of tears, I said, I have to go home now. No, you don't, he insisted. He leaned down and began to kiss my dookie, and I began to cry. Without warning, the back door opened, and his older brother entered the kitchen to find me lying half naked on the floor. His older brother was my brother Jason's age. Both were in high school. Frank, look what I've got, Buddy said with a laugh. His brother Frank's handsome face turned white, then red. Get her out of here, now, Frank shouted. Grateful at Frank's reaction, I pulled up my panties and shorts that were down around my ankles and ran home as fast as I could. Luckily, I didn't die that afternoon, like that poor chicken, but my innocence did. I told Mama exactly what happened. She became upset, almost hysterical, but refused to say anything about it to Mr. or Mrs. Pender. Obviously, that Buddy is troubled, she said. But Mama was afraid of confrontation. When my big brother Jason heard what happened, he became furious. He clenched his fists and bared his teeth. I'm going over there, he growled. I'll fix Buddy, that bastard. No, Jason, Mama pleaded. The police will get involved and arrest you. They argued back and forth until Mama won. If he ever touches her again, Jason declared, I'll kill him. Aside from other Mama, Jason was the most level-headed one in our family. Mama said we must never tell my daddy, D.W., what happened because Daddy would kill Buddy. I didn't think he would. Daddy had a loud voice and a dreadful temper, but other mamas said that any man who would hit a woman was a coward. I'd seen Daddy hit Mama, so I knew he was a coward. Nicky, Mama said, you must promise me that you will never, ever go near that Buddy Pender again, or go into anyone's house alone. I promised. What happened that afternoon seemed to be my fault. Mama said I should have known better than to follow Buddy inside. I felt ashamed, hated Buddy, and blamed myself for years. What bothered me the most was that Buddy's parents were never told or held accountable. Buddy Pender needed help. Buddy's been dead for years now, so the only way to hold him accountable is to share what occurred. It can't change anything, but at least what happened will no longer remain a shameful secret.